The state of small business less optimistic today. The National Federation of Independent Business is out with its January report, and it shows a decline for the fifth month in a row. The index now at a two-year low, and a key concern for business owners, uncertainty. Joining us right now is the Marks Group PC president and certified public accountant, Gene Marks. Gene, it's good to see you.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much. So there's uncertainty in a lot of areas, from the tariffs to the tax story.
Yeah, first of all, I just have to say there's always uncertainty when you run a business. You know, I mean, if everything was certain, running a business would be a really easy thing to do.
Yeah, good point. So what's going on with small business optimism?
I think it's more reality than uncertainty. I think, you know, when President Trump was elected, after 8 years of putting up with, you know, high regulations and high taxes and a lot of issues running a business, you had a president coming in that was very pro-business, and I think people were very, how should I say it, irrationally exuberant. You know, and then I think reality sets in. You know, it's like, you know, you're excited to go and see the Mets, and then you go and see the Mets, and you realize, I guess it's just the Mets.
Else
you know
is here. I mean, you would think, given the president's policies, the America First agenda, small companies, small and mid-cap companies that are so closely impacted by policies like this would not be declining for 5 months in a row, Brian.
You know, you got to put this into context. So the index has come down a little bit. It is still way higher than anything we saw under the Obama administration. In general, these businesses are still confident. Don't you think some of this is a little bit how the issue gets framed? You know, the press didn't want to talk about the elevated levels of confidence, but as soon as it starts dipping down, you see story after story about how small businesses they're not losing that much.
Just to put it into context, I mean, the index itself right now is about 101, whatever that means. Okay, the average is about 98. That's like a decent, you know, index. During the Obama administration, right after the recession, it was down at 80. So, you know, we are absolutely historically at high levels. And if you look back over the 30 years that this index is being done monthly, you will see that the index is at a level that is really, that continues to maintain strong. It's just that I think it was a little too high over the past year. I think people were a little too excited, and the reality of running a business is sinking in. It's tough. It's tough to find employees right now, qualified people. It is tough to, a lot of competition out there. It's tough to grow your business. There are a lot of, you know, there's a lot of stresses, healthcare costs, you know, to running a business. So it's not as if, you know, President Trump is going to come in and solve all of our problems in a year. We suddenly realize that, okay, it's a better environment to run a business, but we're still having to battle.
Well,
and I think that's what's indicative.
These numbers are January numbers, so that was the shutdown period. So I'm sure that had to impact this to some extent. What's your viewpoint on that?
Well, that's true. Yeah.
It's funny, Lindsay, about the whole shutdown thing. You know, when people ask me, like, how were small businesses impacted by the shutdown? First of all, people ask me about small business. There's 30 million small businesses in the country, so I can't sit here and say how everybody was impacted by something going on in the economy. Absolutely, some small businesses were impacted. If you were a craft brewery, if you're waiting for an SBA loan, if you are, a federal, working where your only company, your only contractor, customer is the federal government. And by the way, that's not a great way to run your small business if that's the way that you're set up. Sure, you were impacted, but I got to tell you, in the Philly area where I'm from, we have about 600 small and medium-sized clients, and I see a lot of them and talk to a lot of them during January. And I wasn't seeing a blip. I mean, most people are out there buying and selling and doing their things without the whole conversation of the shutdown didn't come up unless somebody was frightened to go to the airport because they would hit big TSA lines. That's what I'm seeing on the ground.
So are things positive? You think you're going to see a good year, 2019?
Things are absolutely positive this year. I think things are just more realistic this year, Maria. Okay, and that's a positive realism.
Gene, it's great to have your insights.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Gene Marks joining us there. Coming up.